Hi, folks. I am doing a new thing. I've said that phrase hundreds of times, probably several thousand times since I began channeling me 2,000 years ago or just 20 years ago, maybe 22. I am doing a new thing with new people, new ways. I am doing a new thing with people who are willing. I'm doing a new thing. Wow. If you look up that phrase in database one, the first 2,400 messages that I channeled, you'll find that phrase a huge number of times and probably several thousand since then. I'm doing a new thing, and that new thing is coming about in me, of me. I'm finally doing mine. So if you know me, you know I've tried to start a school. I've been trying to start a school for years and years in different ways with different names. School of Light, School of Christ, School of God. All sorts of names. And even now, last year, I incorporated the Cosmic Classroom, School of the Angels. But now I'm just being me. I don't want to be corporately involved in another, trying to be a school or act like I'm something I'm not. I'm just an old guy in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, who teaches like this. Just being me, talking about David Bohm's implicate order. Or are you a hologram not knowing it? Or changing everything you think you would like to know this day in you, from within you? Are you teaching now the implicate order of not else and other? Are you willing to see a different story than what Christ has given us? Or were you Christian no more about it? Will you be the real you explaining the order of you with an implicate order, not the hologramic reference of, or are you changing what you think you came to see? Or why did you hit that little button? Subscribe, did you, to my channel, the membership too? You joined the classroom. Oh, here's to you. So I'm sharing with you me as a man, not a school not, or am I just teaching you as I am? To be the royal me in your shoes, in your clothes that looks like you. It's not me at all in flesh, but your flesh being you. Me, the mind of. What mind? The mind that transcends it all. So yesterday I was doing as I normally have done. I taught. And I showed you the transcripts. I've asked you to write a paper in my cosmic classroom to get you to give me something to do to read it, not, but let me tell you this, there are a lot of things now coming upon the earth that you're qualified not to do, but to become. An angel? The angels are. No more in waiting for a preacher, a mass movement, a God king. The common people are rejoicing now because God is no more their Lord, and their Lord is no more their God, for they are no longer worshiping another, anything, anywhere, anywho. So yesterday I was recording, live streaming, like I do so often. I recorded it. I sent the MP3 file of my words to a transcription service online, had it back in a few minutes. And as I've mentioned several times, that transcription service does great with the verbiage. Excellent, in fact, I would call it. Very few changes to the verbiage. But oh my, it kind of makes a mess of the punctuation because of the way that I speak. And I understand that. I'm not normal. I don't want to be normal. This is not a normal school, a normal website, a normal broadcast. I'm a me. And whatever that means, I'm happy with it. So you see, you know I'm going to tell you more. So yesterday, then I proceeded to do as I normally do. I began to repunctuate and listen to my teaching yesterday as I normally do. This is what I did. I've done that thousands of times. And I've spoken to this subject before, where I've had many times trouble just sitting here doing that, dealing with my body, my hands, the repetitive motion. But I had lapsed back into that, and I was trying each day for several weeks now, and doing so, where I went back through the lesson, repunctuated it, and sent out the transcript to everyone on my email list, which is not many at the moment, but there will be. But yesterday, in the middle of that process, I didn't hear the ground shake. I didn't hear a voice in the wind. I just experienced something. And what emerged was not necessarily the words, but a knowing. I can't do this any longer. So I simply got up and took a walk. And I was really distressed, kind of. I was just tired. I knew something was happening. Cataclysmically, significantly. I knew something in what I was feeling was letting me know the ground was changing under my feet or something. Or maybe the dust, the molecules that you think I'm made of were changing. But I was walking around town, and I was distressed. I was not calm. I wasn't nervous. But I was ready to leave town, leave Eureka, leave the earth, leave what I had gotten used to doing. I couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, I got back to the house, and lo and behold, had no water. An excavation crew was doing some work in Eureka Springs here, and actually broke the water main, the main supply into Eureka. So most of Eureka was without water for not too long, three or 4 hours. But it's interesting, suddenly be without water. At first I thought, well, they'll get it repaired right away. And then I talked to a few neighbors and whatever, and that had heard that it might actually be a day, a whole day or more before they got it fixed. And when I heard that, the very first thought I had in my mind was, I won't have water for coffee in the morning. I went and got in my car right then and went to the grocery store and got me some bottled water where I'd have coffee this morning. Wow, you can tell where my priorities are. And then I watched a movie here at the house because I had checked out the DVD from Eureka Springs Library entitled The Day the Earth Stood Still. You probably remember it. The first version, I think, was made in 1951. And I had seen that in the past. And another one was made a few years ago. I checked out both, but I watched the latest one last night. And that was interesting. Why did I watch it? Because the movie was mentioned in my words. My words? That's just my personal term that speaks to what I channel like this, because I'm speaking surrenderedly. This is my classic classroom, not at all anymore. This is my cosmic classroom. And I'm acknowledging that and letting you know. This is not what I am speaking that you're hearing out of my logic, my rationale, the product of my neurons, or the conception of a consciousness that I've cultivated to conform to your wishes, your images. This is me being me. A study not of, but I ask you to study to learn to be the real you. Doing this too, where you come into your classroom that's no longer a classical classroom, where somebody tells you what to do, when, what to write, how, assesses you, gives you a grade of competence, comparing you to each other, wanting your individual work. Well, that's not how this is not how my school works. My school is the work of the angels to be them, the angelic host of one, the implicate order. Or have I told you? Did you understand it? Did you care? Did you give a damn? Or did you just let it blow in one ear and out the other? All of the universe is inside of you. The fact that you may not understand that doesn't make it non-true. It only means that you don't understand. You have not cultivated the comprehension of. You don't have the diction and grammar, the syntax, the ability to describe something abstract, or enter into what you don't know. Or are you willing to learn from what you don't know exists inside of you as a cosmic miracle, not? Or are you discovering a new way to learn from you in the school of you? That's inside of you, that you can't extricate even if you wanted to, that thing that connects you with me or each other or the world of sovereign other, not again? Or are you seeing your new world now? A new classroom, a new life, a new energy, a new love, where you're not romancing flesh again to be flesh, led by, we be equals in me. Meonics. What a cool word. Where did I learn that word and what it consists of? What it implies, what it constructs, what it completes. I channeled. That's where I learned most of what I know about love, life, interstellar activity, increasing brain waves, not? Or are you no more subject to it? Or are you no more increased by your learning that gives you ignorance and dementia? Will you be demented, not? Will you let you out of the frame of reference that you're in, where your consciousness is conceived in you by the words of others that have given you their reality, so you reconceived theirs? The implicate order of? Or are you changing everything you know about? Are you reading the book? Will you study classical physics no more, or but interstellar? Or are you no more limited to the classrooms of your past? Will you come into the interstellar activity of you and be in your cosmic classroom too? Will you be unafraid of what you learn? Will you no longer hold out your hand to see if what you're learning is congruent with your Bible, your religion, your code of reference? So I mentioned to you yesterday afternoon, picking back up that thought, that line of thought, whatever you want to call it, what thought is. But I'm channeling, or am I thinking? Or am I letting the thought no more rule me because I'm letting an energy speak through me that I'm no longer separate from? An energy and an energy that's no longer separate, but equals? I really like that word. How do you spell it? I spell it HMMM. So yesterday afternoon, I knew the ground was shaking in an earthquake knot. But I knew changes were taking place, and I didn't know what they were. But I was willing. I knew I couldn't keep. I knew I wouldn't keep doing what I was doing the way I was doing it. So I mentioned, got back home, didn't have water for a few hours, made me a salad, watched a movie the day the earth stood still, went to bed. A few hours later, I was getting up to go down the hall. And somewhere between being asleep and awake, I was still laying in bed, hadn't gotten up. Probably a lot more asleep than I was awake. I am doing a new thing the way that I want to do it, not the way that I thought. That surfaced, it emerged within me. It came from another place of me, without me, not within me. From a far mind, not, but one that I was, one that I am again, because I have reconnected with the angels. And the angels are the feminine divine, race of one, all light, beings interstellar. If you're not willing to be interstellar, gosh, don't come here. Born again? Don't need to be religious about it anymore. For the religious stories only take your power, keep you on earth, put you in a pew, make you passive, ignorant, willing to die for that which you did not know and didn't cultivate. You only conformed to the images of what they gave you. But I'm doing a new thing. So I just mentioned. So when that emerged within me, what did I do? I grabbed my phone beside my bed and clicked on the little icon to activate my little notes app. Clicked on the microphone and spoke those words to record them exactly verbatim so that I would have them this morning and be not forgetful, be not wondering about the exact placement of the words. And went back to sleep. And then this morning, as I awoke, it was so unusual. I was laying in bed, somehow dreaming. I woke up, I had had a dream. Somehow, a few moments before I awoke, with a consciousness of this being reality, or at least my consciousness of this reality. And I was experiencing what I'll call a dream. And I was somewhere, I don't know where. And I was, I guess, in this large 2-story or more place. And there was a winding staircase, and there were people all around. I think they were shopping. And I was on the winding staircase singing my heart out. And it was the happiest. And I was singing la 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 da da la la, you know, and it wasn't words that define things the way we have words here, but I was just singing. so completely, uninhibitedly. It was really wonderful. It was exuberating in the exuberance. So I got up this morning. Yeah, it was nice to have coffee. So then I did my normal. I got my coffee, sat in my big white chair back there, and began to ponder and consider these things. And then I began to look at the transcript of yesterday's teaching that I went through and repunctuated only maybe a third of yesterday before I had that meltdown. Not, it wasn't a meltdown, but it was a cataclysmic juncture. Well, I don't know, something. But anyway, I'm sitting in that chair pondering just a little while ago. And I began thinking about, pondering, energizing those words in me. Energizing what words? The words that came in the middle of the night. I'm doing a new thing the way that I want to do it, not the way that I thought. So you can read into that phrase multiple interpretations, different meanings, not the way that I had thought. So I'm doing something different than the way that I thought I was doing it, right? That's how I took it at the moment. And I'm going to do something that I want to do the way that I want to do it, not the way the experts tell me to do it, not the way that makes it most cost efficient, not the way the marketing experts would recommend, not the classical way or what we've been used to. Oh. So I sit there and I ponder these words so that these words are no longer pondering me, no longer using my energy. I'm using my energy. I'm pondering these words that came forth, giving them my energy, my focus, my concentration, my consciousness, with a yieldedness, with a yielding of me to be these words, to be doing these words, living these words. I'm pointing to because I'm just looking at the phrase that I recorded last night in the middle of the night that came to me. I'm becoming the words. I am my word. I am not a separate energy. I'm not a separate explicate order. I'm the implicate order of me. Or are you changing what's enfolded in you? This is the cosmic classroom. And I'm responsible for these words of light. Changing the light. A lot of light in here. I don't want to be like other people. I don't want to be conformist, culturally correct. Politically correct? Oh my. Deliver me from all the people's expectations that want me to live like they think I should. Why do I video like this? Why do I teach like this? Because it was in my words originally. You see, I wanted to know God. That was my motivation originally, to be a man of prayer, to know God, to know Jesus and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. So for years, I went to early morning prayer, prayed an hour a day, learned how to pray, energized my prayer life, began to experience things. Some I've told you, some I haven't. But for years, and then in early 2003, I felt like God spoke to me internally and said, will you give me your mornings? I literally put my hand on my forehead and my first thought, that's going to change my income. And believe me, it did. Because I didn't say yes or no. I was afraid to answer. You see, I thought it was a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. I had no idea I was about to enter a learning program in my own cosmic classroom. I didn't have the nomenclature. I didn't know what to call it. I call it going to church, not I call it going to a chapel where I prayed to God. But it's one thing to pray an hour a day. And wow, it's something else to begin giving your whole mornings to prayer, to silence, not meditation the way people repeat mantras and experience their own source of enlightenment the way that I understand it. But 4 hours, so I just chose. I began going from 8 to noon, 5 days a week. That's a commitment. When you know what you want to go after, when you know there's an internal motivation somehow that doesn't come from the outside, but from within, the motivation of love itself, to love, to know more, to be revealed. This is the cosmic classroom. But I was not afraid, see, of spending my mornings. But I had no idea what I was about to experience. None whatsoever. I knew that what I called God communicated with me sometimes, mostly in revelation, ideas, sentences that would surface. Sometimes I wrote a few paragraphs even. Oh, wow. I mentioned my first book. I self-published it in the year 2000. And I just thought of this, if I can find it. One of the first times I felt like that what I called God at the time spoke to me. Was on a Sunday. And during church, during the Sunday morning church, sitting there with my family, something was going on internally with me. I was experiencing something I don't even know really how to give voice to, but something And I began to have this sense that after the Sunday morning service was over, I should come back and just sit there in that church alone. And I did, which is very unusual. We always went out to eat, often with other people, but we always went out to eat after church. So I told my family, nope, doing something differently. You guys go ahead without me. I'm going to be here for a little while. I'll see you at the house later. And that's what I did. So I didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew was I just kind of felt like I had some sense that I should be there. That's leadership. This is leadership. Are you willing to lead you out of where you have been? To be led by other people no more? Are you willing to learn from within you how to sense, how to feel? And giving knowledge to your feelings not, but let there be much more in the transmission than an idea of faith or what's to come through the hands of somebody else. Are you willing to originate? Are you willing to cultivate leadership? This is a school of leadership. This is the school of me that looks like you. The school of you in your mirror. The school of meonics. Oh, neat word. So back in those early days, gosh, this must have been about 1990, 87, 90. Probably about 1990. So I went back in the church and I just sat there. And eventually I began having a thought, and I pulled out a pen and I wrote a very brief message. But it began, I was going to read it to you. It's in my book. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is what I wrote that Sunday. See, I'm reading now. It's on page 135 in the printed version that I have of. See, I am doing a new thing. Will you let me move through you? Will you? I am singing new songs. I am creating them. I am writing new books. I am creating new opportunities. I am creating. Will you let me create through you? The model of church is changing. The model of who does what is changing. The model of my leaders is changing. And those who won't change will be left behind in the new things that I do. They have a choice. It is few that go on with me and pursue continuing deepening relationship with me and hear my voice. I am creative. I love to create. Will you let me create through you? The wealth of the wicked will not be transferred to the righteous by means we're accustomed to. Behold, I am God, and my nature is to create. I am tired of my people being so boring and being satisfied with so little. I have so much to give. I am God. Did I not frame the worlds? Did I not make man? Did I not make man for me? Why would I withhold my ability to let well, I forgot this is several pages long. I like to create. I'm tired of not creating. I like to create. Will you let me create through you? Create value, create things, ways you've not dreamed of. Will you? Will you? I'm waiting, waiting. The choice is yours. You can have what you want. Haven't I said that over and over? I gave gifts to man. They have chosen to operate without them. But I have my remnant, and my remnant will increase, for I am doing new things, says God. And I call out to you to let me do them through you. The choice is yours. Will you humble yourself so that you can be exalted? Will you? Will you? I am waiting. See, I have anointed you to write this, and you know it. You feel my presence. These things are above you. Will I not bring my anointing to those who seek me? Nothing pleases me more than to share my presence. Will you let me share my presence with you? Will you? Will you? I am waiting. You have a choice. So these are the pages. See, I am doing a new thing. Gosh, and that was, wow. That was about 1990. So I mentioned, I am doing a new thing. That phrase has come forth from my lips probably, certainly, well over 1,000 times. So I mentioned spending my morning 8 to 12, 5 days a week. So I knew that I had had this experience. I had penned the words I just read to you. They had come forth from within me. I always knew that what I called God had never stopped speaking. That just didn't compute. God is not mute. But what I call God changed. Over these years. Because I have learned to channel that which no longer lives according to the laws of God. And God, you see, is not who we thought. I'm teaching about that now. So I'm teaching who I am, who you are, to have a different identity. Are you willing to have the identity of an angel? The identity of a royal person, a royal entity, a royal agency, a royal consciousness, royalty. Are you entertaining royalty, the thoughts of opulence, glass and brass, instead of impoverishing your poverty? This is the cosmic classroom, and I teach this way increasingly. So So I had no idea of the path before me as I started spending from 8 to noon in a chapel in downtown Tulsa 5 days a week. I first began to go to First Methodist, McBurney Chapel, downtown Tulsa. And I wrote there a little bit, but some things began to come forth. So exciting to me. I went and shared them with the pastor, made an appointment, went to his office, shared what God was telling me, let him read it. Not what I expected. No congratulations, no pat on the back for pursuing God, to know the voice of God. I'm not going there. I don't care to talk about all that at the moment. But the Sunday during his preaching time, a week or two later, when I began to hear things like, there are people who think God talks to them, da 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 da. And we must not allow ourselves to think like that. I knew my time there was done. But I didn't know where to go. When I said I prayed for years, an hour a day, early morning prayer, 6:30 to 7:30 in a nearby chapel. See, I went there for years, as was my custom. Until one morning I started to walk in the door, and the door was locked. I hadn't been there in a few weeks. And lo and behold, the door was locked. I no longer went to church there. Years ago I had, but I still went and prayed there. But the door was locked. So I walked around to another door on the other side of the building. I knew there was a little squawk box. I could press the button and maybe reach somebody inside that would open the door for me to go in and pray. So I pressed the button. Lo and behold, the custodian, a really kind man, Bernie, I think was his name, let me in. Because, of course, we knew each other. I'd known him for years in that capacity. So I went to the part of the building where the little chapel was. Of course, it was no lights on, nobody there. The building had been locked. And I stood there, and all of a sudden I knew. That's over. My time there was done. That season where I went and prayed there in that little chapel. It's over. I thought, what do I do now? And I sort of had not really what I call a vision, and yet there was something of a sense, not really translucent, but not with perfect clarity. But I had the idea, and I saw a set of steps going up to a little landing area and hallways in this big, big place. And I recognized it. It was First Methodist Church in downtown Tulsa. So I've shared with you from those years of being in that little chapel and that season being over. I mean, dramatically so. The building was locked. Nobody there. Had this experience. Seeing in my mind, my spirit, my consciousness, whatever you want to call it. What you call it won't defeat what experience I had that led me, you see, to First Methodist. So I went downtown. I knew exactly where those steps in that setting existed. So I got in the car and drove down there. And that's where I went and began praying from 8 to noon for several months. But then I shared that God was teaching me, and I was writing the words. And that was not well received. And something within me began to let me know my time there was done. But I didn't know where I would go next. And some matter of days later, a friend of mine, we were just chatting. And we talked about praying. And she said, Ted, I went by Ted Cottingham for decades. She said, Ted, and she didn't, I don't remember that I told her all the details about my other meeting or why, but she said, Ted, why don't you come to Trinity Episcopal with me? I don't know how I knew. I don't know that I knew. It just sounded right, seemed open, seemed a path to maybe check out. I was open. I was willing. So I went to Trinity Episcopal. I'd never been in an Episcopal church that I guess. And they were wonderful. They were loving. They loved me. So I went and talked to the man in charge. It's okay if I come down and pray like 8 to 12, 5 days a week. Oh, we'd be delighted. Ed Rolling, I appreciate you for that. I always will. So I began to go. Gorgeous Gothic type cathedral. Lots of the most highly skilled craftsman made stained glass. A beautiful facility. So I spent lots of hours there over the next few years. And at the same time during all this, not only did I have my little, basically one-man accounting consulting type business, I'd enrolled in the Doctorate of Strategic Leadership degree at Regent University. So I was living a life that I had never envisioned. So even back then, when the words started coming through me, You see, they can't come through me unless they come to me. I began to let. The big word's a key concept. I allowed. I was yielded. I came as a little child. Let. I let those words come. And many times I thought about Isaiah. He let those words come. Different prophets of old, they let those words come to them. They didn't resist. They were flesh and blood. They let. Talk about being directed by the words. Isaiah went naked for 3 years. Look it up. So the words that he wrote, he lived by. They affected his life. He began to live the words. In the classic classroom, you don't live by your words. There's no transformation, there's only information. But in the cosmic classroom, you begin to bring forth the teacher who you begin to experience as the teacher within you. That you begin to let teach you. You begin to experience a system of education that will not leave you alone. Doesn't take your breath away. It gives you breath, not you are the one that gives it breath. You are the one that energizes that energy. You are the one who speaks. It's hard to be the real you because we are so highly controlled by what we've seen, by what we hear, by what people preach, and all the hurts and wounds. And the lack of promises being fulfilled. So why do I speak like this? I mentioned it was in my words that I channeled. But oh, believe me, I didn't call it channeling back then. That was a New Age term. And yet, as I began to write, when words began to come, and I would write, sometimes 30, 40 minutes. Not what some call automatic writing. It was not something that took my hand and wrote on a paper. But there was an energy of encounter that I received, that received me as an equal and taught me day by day. Word by word, the energy would come, and I would energize the energy. Or was I one of the many ones being taught by one? One what? One world. Is the world inside of you? Are you no longer just the breath of flesh contained in the locality of you? Or are you something non-local seeing now? The breath. No longer needing a savior of flesh. Will you no longer be limited to it? Will you create a new you in the cosmic classroom of you? And be unafraid of what you learn there from within, because you channel like this too. You begin to learn to adore you of many ones and love each other equally. And this defies God, not. But if you're willing, love will teach you. You don't need a God figure anymore. You don't need a Godhead, a Trinity, a Messiah. You don't need to experience an intermediary between you and your origin, your identity as an original angel, the origin of the universe before the universe was born. Are you timeless, becoming interstellar too? This is the cosmic classroom, and I teach unafraid of you. I teach because I'm willing. I'm willing to be unafraid of the fiery furnace, the lion's den. I'm no longer afraid of the vengeance of God, the wrath of the Lord God. I'm no longer abiding by the fear-mongers preaching who want their church full and their offering plate not empty. I understand. Immersed in Christianity I was, or was it that I just grew up in it? And I thought God is the Lord, or the Lord is God, or I didn't know the difference. Just like you may not know the difference between God, Lord, angels, demons, heavens, hell, Satan, love, light. You may not know the difference because you've only applied the definitions that you've heard from other people give you your reality, your perception. Who created your consciousness? You let all the people around you create what you're conscious of, your perception, your capacity. If you're in this classroom, if you're in my school, you begin to learn things you did not know that you could know, because it will not be restricted to what you believe. If you're willing to let there be light. Within you, the Creator creates you who will create it. To be no more silent, to be no more idle, IDLE, and have no idols before you, IDOL, like a God that you have served. So I am doing a new thing. I read what I wrote in this book over 25 years ago. I've read these transcripts and taught you from these transcripts many times. And yesterday, in the middle of repunctuating my lesson of yesterday that I spoke, I knew something was happening. So I got up and took a walk and I let. I just let. There's a letting experience. If you're willing to have it, to enjoy it. It's not always enjoyable. When you walk out of church and you don't know where you're going. When you walk off your map. When you begin to walk into uncharted waters. You begin to do something for which you have no precedent. Is it okay? Am I okay? Is it okay to do this? This is nuts. Am I okay? Believe me, I've asked those questions zillions of times. But love will teach you. But it's not love that you equate with God. This is not the love talked about in your Bible. If you're willing to let the light shine in you, that you feel, that you sense, an energy of light, an energy of something, a perception, you begin to change your consciousness because you become conscious of a world greater than yours that you seem to live in. And you're no longer conquered by poverty or preachers who preach their version of prosperity. So this morning, I'm sitting over there in my white chair, pondering, enjoying coffee, pondering all these things. And what came forth last night in the middle of the night, I'm doing a new thing the way that I want to do it. And I thought, and then all of a sudden, I had a thought, an idea. Or maybe I was communicated with. Or maybe something communicated with me. Or maybe I sensed an energy that I converted into words in my consciousness. Or however you want to say this or think about it, I'm teaching you to live in your cosmic classroom too, and be unafraid of it. Be unafraid of the energy that yields to you, to let you be no more afraid of it, but teach you. It is an equal you, that you are an equal it, that you have a quality, no more the burden for making a living. Or will you, what? Have no needs again? Will you change your source for income? Change your source for your words? Change your source for your life? What energy will you possess no more to take to the grave? Will you live the royal you? Will you see what's coming into existence? The angels are back in touch with the reality of what's real and not, who God is and not, what you are, no longer refuting it. So, all of a sudden, idea. But you see, we're taught idea. Your personal mind has an idea. So it's common to accredit the source of that thought to you in your separation as a flesh human being. But now we're correcting the thoughts, not. We're correcting the understanding, the perception of the conscious Christ, no longer to be Christ needing a Christian example of, but an angel with the angelic ones, and you are one if you will let you be taught this way. Will you study this transcript? Will you want it? I can give you the link to the transcript that is unpunctuated. It's not punctuated properly at all, nor paragraphed the way that it should be read or understood. But you can do the work. You can do the work. I no longer treat you like a parent, not, or am I no longer being parental or the authority that has to digest these words for you and explain every comma, every period, every amplitude, focus of your energy, what they mean, how to interpret them? No, it's up to you. This is leadership school. You write a paper on leadership, will you? I asked you to write one. What did I ask you to title it? I am. But only one person has written it that I know of, that wrote it and sent it to me. And I read from it yesterday. This is the cosmic classroom. I am no longer trying to emulate a school the way that Earth does school, or that Earthlings think Earth should work or be educated by other Earthlings. So where does all that lead to? A change in me, a change of how I do things. I'm doing a new thing, the way that I want to do it. All of a sudden, this phrase, I just had it. I walked over, cut on my little laptop right here on this desk, and I changed the title of my website from The Cosmic Classroom, School of the Angels. So I've got a heading on it now. This is the school of me, and I'm Theodore Cottingham. This is my cosmic classroom. Breath of fresh air, a new dimension, uncontrolled freedom. You know, it is my desire for you to be the real you. And not try to be like me or anybody else. Certainly not God. Certainly not Christ, the religious form of. But we learn. Will you learn to learn from within you? The cosmic order of one, the intellectual Christianity not, or are you connecting to the intelligible energy of one? The perception of interstellar activity? Cosmic grace? Will you sit still long enough to hear the angels sing to you? Will you sing back? Will you love them? Will you be one? Unafraid of being one. The equals are one. So I invite you into my cosmic classroom. I teach unafraid. I teach like this. I'm an old man. I'm 74, almost 5. 3/4 of a century almost I've breathed the air on this planet. But I'm no longer fooled by you. who tells me this is the breath of flesh appointed to die, and then a judgment from another source that may put me into eternal damnation. I set free the feminine divine, for you to be the divine feminine in your shoes. Male or female, because it's a choice. And you don't have gender concepts that ruin you anymore or that rail upon you or defy your standards, or will you raise up a new one to see, to let there be breath in you that breathes into you a new creation, you, the cosmic classroom. Will you afford it? Not cheap. Costs you everything. And you can join my classroom. It's not free. I don't know all the details, but I'm continuing to write to lead and ask you to lead you out of the breath where you have been conquered with the words of the language that has been used against you to only draw your energy into it, and no more produce their empires nor their income, but to see you are impoverished no more if you will enter your palace of light within you and no longer separate you worshiping another. Be the real, royal, regal you. And let your clothes be no more needed. Going butt naked like Isaiah, not, or will you be see-through, amorphous, incorporeal? Pardon. The spirit of one, the reality of one that needs not the molecular breath of earthlings anymore. Be the regal privilege of you in the classroom of one to be one, royal, regal, you, the angels of, to be your angelic heritage restoring the origin, the originality of you who created you, to no longer linger in breath of man. Be the women on high who have a womb for my word, to be your word coming forth, so that in you there's no seed of man anymore, but the light, the supremacy of love, the unconditional cohort of one. See you later. I teach like this whenever I want. And I want to do new things with new people. Angels who will see them again, that they are one, and release their breath to teach them you are one also. Be the breath of I am one. Healing. The I am one series to be I am again. Saved from mankind. Saved from breath that damned us and all the assessment of hell that wanted to give us their power to remain ignorant. Well, I don't know everything. I don't know how I will do the things I'm going to do, the things I've done. What's new? Will you be new in your privilege to recognize you in your mirror. The angels are one of a network that's coming forth unabated, no longer curtailed, no longer abased by religion, no longer using your mind to reflect it, to its neurons to be flesh only. See a new life. Love arising. Be the grand rising one. Theodore Cottingham. You can write me. Snail mail. Box 34 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, USA. You can share these words. I bet you know people in other countries. You know a few friends, relatives, people that have moved. Connect with them. Change your channel to no longer be suffering. Open a new channel. Open your YouTube channel. Begin channeling like this. The interstellar me, the cosmic you, the one mind, the glorious perception of your royalty, no longer abused by you who think like religion tells you. I love you all. Theodore Cottingham. schooloftheangels.com. Join my channel. Join me. Join my classroom. It's all available. I give you light. I give you me. Are you willing to give your world? You? Be unafraid. Be the royal regal. Enter your classroom and never look back. If you so choose, it's your choice. You're the creator. Be the creator of you again. I love you. Good day. Share these words and love yours and free them. Thank you. Good day.